really were upset when we failed that mission. I mean, I did give them all of our secrets and throw our organization into shambles, but there's always a next time, right?
Lord Hogger, this is insane. How can you fail to just say?
Well, that would be lying, and I mean, we are spies. I mean, they asked if we were spies.
If you want to survive, you lie. That's just how it goes.
But what about if I'm a spy without lying?
Good luck with that.
Well, lying's wrong, and I was very hungry. And they had croissants on the table, and that was really good.
That's different. But anyway, lying is often justified.
But where do we draw the line between justified lying and unjust lying?
Well, I would begin by defining what lying is, and also deciding what doesn't belong in that definition. For example, though communicating something false is normally considered a lie, if it's by accident, then we call it a mistake or inaccuracy, but the person is not accused of lying.
Okay, I understand.
So, there are cases where untruth can be communicated, but the act is not considered a lie because of the circumstances. Or like a surprise birthday party. No one feels consciously tortured when at a line for a party because they know that good will result in the end. So again, an untruth is told, but the teller was not considered a liar.
So what would your definition of a lie be?
My definition of a lie would be an untruth or falsehood told with malicious intent to someone who has the right to the truth and thus brings about a greater internal and external evil. Like, for example, according to Boom in World War II with the Jewish soldiers, she lied to she lied to Nazi soldiers to save Jewish lives, and in doing so, she valued life over truth, which I believe was just weighing. Also, she knew the Nazi soldier would use the truth in a Jew's location for certain evil, thus forfeiting his right to the truth, for truth should only ever be used for good.
But how can good be at odds with itself? Truth and life are both good. But when you preserve truth, there comes death. When you preserve life, there comes lying. Do you have any universal ideals that, so to speak, are bent? Examples of. And for instance, and also not all lies are for malicious intent. For instance, a child who goes up to his mom and lies to her to save himself from punishment, without any ill intent towards the mother. What would you say about that?
Okay, so maybe I should reword my definition to explain other types of lies. As to ideals being bent, consider the universal law of do not murder. Yet self-defense cases of killing are justified, so same with lying. Lying is wrong, but in some cases, falsehoods are justified to result in the greater good or preservation of something of higher value than truth, especially life.
But Dr. Jekyll, mistakenly lying is still lying, correct?
Well, let's go back to the murder analogy. If someone accidentally, with no intent or obvious carelessness, causes someone's death, was someone killed?
Yes.
Was anyone murdered?
I don't think so. I think that would be manslaughter, yet manslaughter is still punishable.
So what could we derive from that?
If a lie is accidentally told, I believe that the damage is already done and should not go unpunished, though there are certain circumstances that manslaughter does go unpunished.
So perhaps accidental lying then, as with manslaughter, depends on the situation. I think what it all comes down to is choosing one value over the other. Corey valued life over truth, birthday party throwers valued love over truth, and so on. Thus, it depends on two things, I believe. Is what you're valuing over truth a just weighing? And also, does the other hold the right to have or know the truth, and do you have the right to tell the truth?
But you can keep from telling the truth and still not lie.
Perhaps, but then there's also nonverbal communication to consider. How much of an effect on truth communicating does it have? If Corey had just not said anything to the Nazi soldiers, could they have logically assumed that she was hiding the Jews? Is that a wild guess or a reasonable conclusion given her knowledge of human psychology and behavior? Would it still be soundly giving away the truth?
So from this, what conclusion can we get?
Well, it does give me some things to think about. When one considers it in light of the morals of killing, it makes sense to say untruth in case of self-defense and preservation of incredibly important things.
But it still leaves me wondering where we should draw the line. You lie only to preserve the value of life, or are there any other values that one could justly lie to preserve?
this is where I would have us start defining what morals means, but unfortunately, it's sort of being watched. So this is where we make a run for it.
Wait, what?
Shh, wait, I'm
I confess, we did it. It was all us.